Live from the internet, it's the Dr. Tom the Frog Show!
Hi-ho! This is Dr. Tom the Frog, and you're watching the Dr. Tom the Frog Show, where we talk about role-playing games. I'm super excited because tonight we have on one of the co-organizers of Contessa, Sarah Richardson. How are you, Sarah?
I am doing great. How are you, Dr. Tom?
Oh, I'm fantastic. I'm wonderful. It's been a wonderful winter here. Now, I got a lot. You do a lot of things. You're a very busy person, so I don't have time for chatter. I have a lot of burning questions. So let's start off. I hear, Sarah, that you're in a group called the Maidens of Mayhem. What instrument do you play? Is the sound like L7, or is it like Slater-Kinney?
Actually, Maidens of Mayhem, as much as we would love for it to be a rock band, is a community on G+ for women gamers of all different kinds. We've got mainly tabletop gamers, but also some video gamers. And it's a place for people to come and kind of talk about what it's like to be a woman in gaming and get support, and also to find out how to do stuff like run their own games.
I actually checked out the community recently, and I have to say it's a little exclusive. I don't see any female frogs. I mean, where's the amphibian relationship here?
That's a really good point. We will have to keep our eye out for some female frogs, maybe get a female frog ambassador to make sure that that demographic is represented in Maidens.
Okay. Well, I'm going to hold you to that, Sarah. We're currently working on a new RPG about blueberries. I really like blueberries. But seriously, how's that a game and not dessert?
Well, actually the RPG that I'm working on with Strix and Marissa Kelly is based on Bluebeard, which is a little different than blueberries.
It has nothing to do with blueberries?
No, in fact, it's a hack we started last year at Gen Con during the Indie Hack Night. So it's a hack of the Apocalypse World system, but in it you play. Actually, are you familiar with the fairy tale of Bluebeard?
What's the deal with Bluebeard? He sounds interesting.
Well, it's based on this fairy tale. And he's this really rich, kind of reclusive guy who's had a bunch of wives. And so you play as his brand new bride, because, he goes through a lot of them. And you and the other players play as part of her mind, and you explore his castle to try and figure out what happened to all those other brides.
This sounds a little dark for me, Sarah.
It is kind of dark. It's this kind of gothic, feminine horror game. Yeah, it's not for kids and maybe not for frogs.
Okay, well, I'll take your word for it, because I don't know, playing like someone's brain who's in a gothic, that's... You have a twisted mind, don't you, Sarah?
I do really like horror movies and fairy tales, so yes.
Oh, all right. So I understand that you write reviews for Women Are Always Right About Comics. Is that right?
Almost, but pretty much. It's a website called Women Write About Comics, and they initially snagged me as a book reviewer, and I was like, hey, I like comics too. And then they found out I played role-playing games. They're like, so why don't you write about all three of these things for us?
Wait a second. So you talk about RPGs on a comic-related website? Doesn't that go against the tribe rules of geekdom?
It really doesn't, because each time I review an RPG, I relate it to the comics. So I'm like, if you like reading Hellboy, for example, you might like playing The Deep Forest. Or if you like reading Saga, you might like trying a game like Apocalypse World or something.
Ooh, Saga and Apocalypse World. That's an interesting combo. I thought you would have went Numenera on that one. Okay.
That's like a whole article in itself. I would have to say. Now, one thing that I know does go together really well, because I've done it, is Rat Queens and Dungeon World.
Rat Queen sounds like a pretty cool comic. Would you say, should I check it out?
Yes, they have a brand new artist now, but everything I've seen of his work is really, really great. And if you like playing role-playing games, I mean, it's like the best foul-mouthed, drug-using, dungeon crawler adventurers you have ever met.
So, what does it have to do with rats exactly?
That's the name of the group. It's the four female adventurers. They call themselves the Rat Queens.
Oh, man, do they have self-esteem issues? That's kind of crazy.
They have like the opposite of self-esteem issues, I would say. They are just kick-ass, really accomplished women who take no prisoners. They kind of wear that as a badge of pride almost.
Huh. I don't think I'd call myself a rat, but I'll take your word for it. They sound interesting enough.
Well, is there maybe a difference between, a frog calling themselves a rat?
Yeah, there's definitely some mores along the rat frog spectrum. We don't really see eye to eye. Rodents they pretty much suck. I've got an anti-rodent and I'm going out. I'm coming out right now. I don't like rats.
I thought you might have more things in common. I see. I was wrong.
Well, they have fur. They're not slimy. I mean, cheese. Okay, cheese. I can live with cheese.
Cheese, and they occasionally are found in slightly damp environments.
Right. That's true. Okay. Maybe I need to branch out a little bit. Okay, Sarah. Enough of this fun here. I'm tired of fun because I've got a serious question for you, Sarah.
Okay.
Are you ready?
I am ready.
All right. Now I know that you do a lot of work with publishing, so I need your expert advice. What is the best font? It's Toadhoma, isn't it?
It's not Toadhoma.
Is it Times New Croaker?
That's like really kind of middle of the road there. But it depends on what kind of what you need it for. I'm sure there's some very lovely amphibious display fonts.
Actually, there's a font called Amphibious. It's pretty awesome. It's all pictures of frogs, which you think would not communicate very well, but it's kind of like emoji, but more attractive.
I will have to see if I can work that into the next RPG I work on.
What's your favorite font right now?
Actually, right now I've been having to work with a lot of Gothic blackletter. And there's one called, let's see, I think it was Abjourney that I'm definitely really liking.
Huh. I was certainly kerning to hear that.
Yay for font geek jokes, yes.
Before we let you go, there's a Contessa thing, right? I'm hoping to have this episode for those on tape delay. We are going to have this out before a special event where everyone who doesn't have a Valentine will be able to play games. Is that how it goes?
Kind of, sorta. It is on Valentine's Day. It's the St. Valentine's Day OSR Dungeon Massacre. So we're doing a dungeon tournament on February 14th online, and anyone can play. Basically, you're going to go head-to-head in this dungeon against other teams, and whoever finds the most gold and kills the most monsters will move on in the competition until we have a final, most awesome dungeon team ever.
You know, Sarah, I just can't believe how much energy you have for all the role-playing games and comic stuff. It's been a super pleasure having you on the show, Sarah.
Oh, well, thank you so much for having me. It's been very fantastic.
You just watched the Dr. Tom the Frog Show, and we hope that you liked what you saw, yo. But if it was a big waste of your time, well, it's free, so that's not a crime. But if it was a waste of your time, Yes, it's free, so that's not a crime.